really good girlfriends who said, well, they don't like the government. I said, the flag's not a picture of the government. It's a symbol of our country and our people. And that, you guys may not all agree with that, but that's, I think, what my father would say. And we have to, and just so we disagree with our government doesn't mean we should take it out on the symbols of our country. And he was very keen on that notion. So, I don't know if that's helpful to you, but that.
I've never heard it referred to that the flag symbolizes the people and the country, but not the government.
Yeah, so why is it the government? Why is the flag the government? Where does that go? Yeah, so I think that's important.
Symbol of the country, not of the government.
Yeah, so I think that the Democrats have made a huge mistake by giving up on words like liberty and freedom and democracy and flag and saying those are our symbols. It's like when I disagree with the Catholic Church, I'm saying I'm as Catholic as the Pope. I mean, I don't give away anything. You may not know about that because you're not Catholic,
Right.
but that means a lot to some people. And so just because you disagree with what the powers say doesn't mean you're not part of the administration.
Right.
Okay. Maybe I've said
Next
enough.
question. Anybody else?
1, 2, 3. Got about 4 more guys. 4 or 5 more.
Thank you, Ms. Henry. Thank you, Skip Stroll, for helping me finish this as well. I have a question. When you were growing up in Hickory Hill, when your uncle was the president and your father was attorney general, and then later when your father was senator, you had a lot of illustrious guests come.
Excuse me?
You had a lot of special guests coming from around the country, around the world, who would visit either for seminars or lectures or just make appearances for dinner at your home. And your parents would entertain these guests from, again, all corners of the world, all corners of the country. Were there any particular guests that stood out to you during those years that you thought were just wonderful?
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I guess one of the guests that did make an impression was that there was a Russian poet. Who was the famous Russian poet at that time? Huh? No. Not so. Solzhenitsyn I met through Teddy because he was older, but he had a really long name. What? Yevchenko. Why was he interesting? Why? Because he had such a long name and had such a long, thin body, and he sort of spread over everything. So he was. I mean, I don't know. I didn't talk. I didn't have long conversations with a number of them. I mean, I met many more interesting people when I was older, and Teddy was my uncle then, and he would have us over for dinner, and I could actually talk to people like Nelson Mandela and Lech Walesa. I was much older, and I could have those kind of conversations. When I was 8 years old, I would curtsy, but we didn't have, it was not as long conversations. People would come over to the house, and they would all be interesting and important, but we were not really having long conversations with them. And I left my house, as I said, when I was 15 to be with boys. So that's probably what I was most interested in. So that's, when I look back, there's so many missed opportunities if I could have taken advantage of all the fascinating people who came, but I didn't all the time. I mean, we did go, for instance, when we went down the river, which we did a lot with John Glenn who was extremely impressive, and Jim Whittaker, who was the first American up Everest. I mean, those two people we did spend a lot of time with. And my mother loved, and you asked about my mother, she loved playing the poetry game, you know, go around the table. Everybody writes a verse. Who wrote the best verse? And you have to guess, who wrote the best verse? You voted, who wrote the best verse and who wrote it? And Robert Frost was forced to play that game. I mean, you can see our house. It's kind of ridiculous. But the people that I really got to talk to and meet were more through Teddy, just because I was older than him.
All right, next question is over here.
On the federal level, the vice president is sometimes regarded as invisible or kind of forgettable. On the state level, did the lieutenant governors share a similar fate? And secondarily, I wonder, what advice would you give to Westmore to revive the Democratic Party?
That's a great question. So I was very lucky being a lieutenant governor. When I started off, I had this staff of about 3, and by the time I ended, I was basically in charge of half the government. And that was largely because my governor cared about primarily education and the environment. And I cared about crime, children, youth, and families, transportation, and environmental and economic development. So he cared about smart growth. So he didn't really care about those other issues as much, and I did. And I had a really good staff. So I had a blast. And I'm just gonna boast. I really made a difference. I mean, in crime, for instance, we had something called a hotspots program where we reduced crime 33% in the highest crime neighborhoods in 3 years. And so I could tell you that what the president is doing to reduce crime is not the way to reduce crime. And I can, if you want, go into great detail how you can reduce crime without in an effective way, which is getting to know the people in the community, talking to them, getting to trust you if you don't wear a mask. But I won't, because that's not really what you're interested in. If you ask me what I think the big issues are in the future, one, the 2 issues that I worked on, which I don't think any Democrat has really focused on, is one, retirement reform. Half of all Americans have nothing saved for retirement. And I started a program to help people save for retirement at Georgetown. When I started, no state had passed legislation to make it easy, and now 18 states have. I can go into that in greater detail if you want to hear. 2, I focused on the fact that I'm going to end with this, just so you know, because it's a big issue for me. I'm going to talk about this for about 2 minutes. The last year of the Biden administration, I worked at the Navy on shipbuilding and shipyards. And I was supposed to recruit welders and machinists to shipyards, because you may not know this, but 53% of all ships now are made in China. 47% are made by Japan and Korea. We make 0.02% of the ships. We are way behind in making ships, and so my job was to try to find more people who could build ships. I soon learned that, for instance, in one shipyard, they hired 2,000 people and 75% had quit in the first year. In another shipyard, there were 18,000 bad welds. You get my point? So I realized the problem wasn't just workers, the problem was our shipyards. So I started a program called No Shipyard Left Behind. And when I was describing the problem with shipyards, a number of people said, Kathleen, that is a waste of your time. The next war is going to be a cyber war. That's what you should be focused on. And in fact, my office was right next to the Navy's cyber security people. So I talked to them a bit. So after I left this administration, I know that this administration had fired the heads of cybersecurity in the Pentagon, the NSA, the CIA, and the FBI. So I was worried about that. So I called somebody who would give talk about cyber at Naval Academy and said, what's going on? He said, Kathleen, it's far worse than that. If you want to open a brothel in Las Vegas, you need a license. I just thought you guys know that. I'm trying to lighten up this talk. I'm thinking, what can I say? A lot. If you want to be a software engineer, you don't need a license to do anything. No licenses for software engineers. Yes, a license for brothel owners, okay? Interesting. There are no standards for basically anything that goes in your body. And so Dick Cheney realized that his heart valve that goes in his body was made in China, and he took it out because he knows that the person in China who makes it could destroy it. As in Estonia, everything that was associated with software, cyber, was thrown out for 10 days. And you know how they got into it? Refrigerators. Because your refrigerator has a machine. And you can get into everything you use. This machinery. There is no, in our country, you know, we had something called Ralph Nader, who made sure that all the machines were made strong, right? Did you say that at speed? But we don't have that for software. There is no consumer protection for software. So I want to start a movement that says we should have consumer protection for software so that it's safe, secure at the start, which it is in Europe. So, my goal is that we have secure software so that we make sure that what we use cannot be destroyed as it was in Estonia, so that Dick Cheney can have a secure heart, just as you have a secure heart, and so that we can be safe here in America. Thank you very much. Extremely grateful for what Skip has done for me and my family. So I want you to all give a round of applause.
Certain plants will come point from. In that area, it's not bad.
we have this for you, the members of the team who put this together, Terrence, Lindsay, Walter, and I.
As you can imagine, I love red, white, and blue.
So we're great. And then at the same time, we handed out little cards in the beginning. Does anyone have a card that has a mark on it? Look at your card.
So-
It has a mark.
So we handed out cards earlier today, and on those gray cards, it has a marking on it. I believe in like the corner. If you guys have a marking on your card, please just raise your hand. You have a marking, or we have one? Do we have any other markings? All right, we have a marking of a C. Any other markings on you guys' gray cards? Any other markings on the cards? No? Okay.
I wish more people would have come, because they would have more marked cards.
So I think if we just ask maybe a simple question, and whoever gets the answer right, you can, I think you have 2 more gifts there.
Okay.
What would your father tell the Republican senators these days? Presidents?
Well, it's hard to tell. The question is, how do you talk to them? And it depends, like, are you in a private meeting, are you in a public meeting, are you organizing? Just yelling at people for the fun of it, who doesn't know it. So, I think you always have to think, what's your goal? What's your goal? And I think, I think it's what Senator Ardell Correa, like Joni Ernst, she made a big mistake when she said everybody's going to.
Yeah.
So she couldn't run, right? So the question is, who is up for reelection? What do you say? It's not what you say to them, it's how you organize in that state and who their constituents. They can, people can only listen to what's going to win them votes. That's my feeling on it. So it's not what you say to them, it's what you say to them. That's wrong. Otherwise, you're just talking.
It's not being heard.
It's just, you're talking. That's they can't hear. You gotta talk to a child who's hungry. They can't hear. They really can't. And this group really can't. If there's a hope, you can't talk to somebody whose paycheck is invested in and their paycheck is invested in money. So, it's not tough. People learn.
Next excerpt, and then we will move to the cake cutting. Gotta have birthday cake in there. Now, I do have a couple of things to give away, but
should give it away to our first and last guest.
First and last guest, okay, I know they will
I
play.
think our first guests were here that arrived early.
Great to hear.
We're gonna hear, who's last?
And our last guest is from all the way from California, correct? Thank you guys for coming. Of course.
You're more.
And I think we're going to play a small song here for the American the Beautiful. You want to pass on it? All right. Straight to cake cutting here.
Straight to cake cutting.
All
Let
right.
the music flow.
You got it. You got it. So in the back, guys, we do have some cake that's ready for you guys. It is 100 years old of the birthday for Bobby. Please come back. We also have some takeaways for you guys. That's here on the side as well. So yeah, we would like for you guys to come up and we're going to cut some cake. We also still have some refreshments and water in the back as well. And yeah, if you guys have any questions for Skip, who's the host here, or myself, please let us know.